Our North America correspondent Lisa Millar joins us live from Washington. Good morning, Lisa. Far from these protests easing after the death of the US ambassador to Libya and 3 of his staffs, they've spread across the whole of the Middle East and to North Africa.
Well, and certainly the US would be watching this very closely. Hillary Clinton, as you heard her previously describing this film as disgusting and reprehensible, these are strong words, clearly trying to calm the situation. Very concerned here in the US, the administration is, that this could get completely out of control. We haven't heard from the president today, although we heard from him yesterday in regards to this issue, but Hillary Clinton being the front woman putting out those messages and also trying to make people in the Middle East understand that it is difficult, I guess, for them to see why the US can't simply stop this film being made, the one that has sparked these protests, trying to explain about the freedom of speech, but also saying that this violence, there's no excuse for the kind of violence that has come about because of it.
And where's the investigation at in Libya in terms of the death of the ambassador, Christopher Stevens, there?
Fully underway, and there is a suggestion perhaps that some people have already been arrested, but we're not getting those kinds of details here in the US. That is something that may take a long time. And Karina, of course, that situation is still unclear because the suggestion from the US is that it was not tied to the film in a way, that was a planned ambush that occurred, and they used the protests over this anti-Islam film as a diversion. That is still what the US believes happened in that regard. That doesn't take away from the fact that there are, as you say, so many other protests because of this film spreading right across North Africa and the Middle East.
And Lisa, what do we know about the filmmaker?
Not a lot. The person who supposedly claimed that the film was his, Sam Basile, is a real estate developer in California, but that would seem that name is not a true name, not a true identity, not a lot of information about the film. The networks here, Karina, are choosing not to play any element of it, to use it to colour their stories in any way, and no further details. That seems to be a bit of a mystery. So the US government is left to support the fact that these people can make films like this, no matter if Hillary Clinton calls them reprehensible and disgusting, they can be made, but no details about just who is behind it. We have heard, though, from some of the people who were involved in the film who say that they were completely misled on what its purpose was and what the end result was going to be, but still a bit of a mystery.
And is this likely to become an election issue in the presidential race?
Oh, it already is, Karina. You can imagine with 54 days to go, absolutely everything becomes an election issue. And we had the back and forth yesterday between Mitt Romney and the president over the statements that were released, whether they had the wrong tone, whether they came at the wrong time. Now, Mitt Romney today has reverted back to his usual stump speech, talking about the economy, where he's on much safer, stronger ground, so he hasn't dealt particularly with the Libyan issue today. But Barack Obama has a problem on his hand here. I mean, this is a real foreign policy crisis for him, so neither candidate is looking particularly strong. And Karina, I also want to add that there's been another element to this today, with Barack Obama telling a Spanish television station that Egypt was not necessarily an ally, not necessarily an enemy, which stunned a few people who thought that after decades of partnership with Egypt, that America would consider it an ally. So people are trying to read into that language what message he is sending to Egypt as well. Lots of different tentacles to this story, but certainly wrapped up in the election campaign, that's for sure.
And another big issue in the election campaign is the economy, Lisa. No surprises that the Federal Reserve will in fact put more stimulus into the economy.
$40 billion a month it's going to buy back of bonds from the banks in the hope that they will then lend more money to businesses and to prospective homeowners. Grave concern about the state of the unemployment figures. They were the lines from Ben Bernanke. So clearly very anxious about what is going on with the economy, not seeing the growth that they hoped they would see. So pumping in this huge amount of money called quantitative easing in the hope that it will then encourage the economy to kick along. Half the problem is that interest rates are so low here that they can't take them any lower. So this is why they take this sometimes controversial path, because the Republicans have said that they think it's a bad move, and they've also said they wouldn't have Ben Bernanke as the head of the Federal Reserve if they won the White House. So it's certainly a controversial move, but Ben Bernanke says they've got the tools in the box. They've got to use everything they can to try and kickstart this economy.
Lisa Millar in Washington, thank you.